Hello again, everyone. This is Martin, the wandering gaijin, calling from my cramped attic room again in Tokyo, Japan, where I've been in quarantine now for the last few weeks, reading lots of books. So this is my second vlog. My first one was a book review. The second one is not as much a book review as rather to talk about an incredibly powerful, illuminating idea that I've learnt from a book that I am still reading halfway through. This book is by Stephen Hawking's Brief Answers to the Big Questions. I think it was actually released just after he died and is a collection of essays and other material that he's written to answer 10 very big questions about the universe and about space. And the big question that I want to talk about and share his answer on with you today is, to me, the biggest and the ultimate question on life, the universe, and everything, which is, how did everything start? So when you think of this from a sort of philosophical point of view, this question is just mind blowing, because how can there be the universe is everything? So how can you have a start to something when there couldn't have been anything before it, if this is everything we know? And how can everything have ever have started? Even if you believe in a god or in artificial design, you can say, okay, God created everything, but then where did God come from? Was God born? Who created God? So how you can get a start to anything, I think is mind blowing, and to me, therefore, the answer to this question has been and will always be impossible. And that's what I thought until I read this book. And it turns out I was wrong. So, spoiler alert, yeah, apparently there is an answer to how everything started. This book talks about the why and the how. So if you don't want more of a spoiler alert, please stop the video now and go out and read the book yourself. But if you want to learn what Stephen Hawking talks about in this book, then I can explain it now in relation to this question. So Hawkins talks about three big reasons or concepts to explain how and why the universe started. And the very first reason, I think, is the most ground-shattering reason. So even if you don't listen to all of this video, please at least hang on and listen to this first reason, because this in itself is gold, having this information to me. And again, I probably should have, if I back up a bit and just give you some background, I'm not a scientist at all. I'm a very amateur, I have a very amateur armchair interest in science and questions such as this. So for my scientific friends out there, please politely correct me or clarify my comments in the comments below the video link if I've got anything wrong. But this is my layman understanding from reading the book. So yeah, just thought I'd get that disclaimer in. So the first thing that Stephen Hawking talks about, which I think is amazing, is he gives an analogy about how, or basically what he talks about is how something, the universe, can come out of nothing, which to me seems impossible. But he explains it very elegantly using laws of physics and the conservation of energy. So, basically the universe is energy and mass, and what we see is the universe is positive energy and mass. And at the same time, throughout the universe is something called negative energy, which, to be honest, he doesn't actually get into what that negative energy is, or maybe I haven't read enough of the book yet. But doing some more background reading on this, it seems very brief reading. Negative energy includes things such as gravitational forces and other types of energy within the universe. So what Hawking says is, at the same time this positive energy came out that creates the universe around us that we can see and feel, at the same time an equal but opposite amount of negative energy came out as well. The way he describes it in the book, he uses an analogy. So imagine you're on a flat surface of land. It's completely flat. And you want to create a mountain, or maybe not a mountain, maybe a hill, a small hill. So the way that you could create this hill out of nothing is actually dig a hole in the land and lift up the soil from the hole and pile up on the ground, and voila, you have your hill. So now you have a hill, and you have a flat land, and you have a hole, and basically the volume of the hole plus the volume of the hill come back to zero. So that's the very cute analogy he uses, I think, to explain what's going on with the universe that's comprised of positive matter and energy that we see, and this negative energy. So overall, they come to zero. I actually made somewhere a very brief scientific diagram here to explain, in case you're not following me. So 0 equals 1 being the universe minus 1 being the negative energy dispersed throughout the universe. And this equation is actually very interesting because this equation also explains how money is created out of nothing, which is a topic very close to my heart, which I should probably do another video about one day. So that was point number one, how something gets created out of nothing. Point number two talks about the concept of time, because again, if you have a starting point, if the universe, which includes time, started, what did you have before then? Was there time? How could time itself start? So yeah, logically, by definition, the point before the universe started was the point before time, so there was no time. And then you think, well, how can that be possible? Well, again, apparently it is possible. And this is something, again, that fixing the laws of physics of our universe in relation to black holes. So apparently within a black hole, I don't understand the reasons or the details of why, but in a black hole, they can prove that time does not exist. So the implication is that if we can prove and see that under the laws of physics inside a black hole there is no time, then it therefore follows that there could have been a point of no time before the universe started as well, meaning that there was no time and then the universe started and created time. So look, sorry if I didn't explain that well. I don't understand the details. I feel I don't need to. I'd probably need to do a PhD in advanced physics to even get close to understanding it. But to my simple non-scientific mind, it's satisfying that they can actually use the laws of the universe to show that it is possible to have situations of no time. Okay, so that's the second point. No time is possible before the universe started. The third point talks about how it could still happen. So, okay, we can accept how a Big Bang can create positive universe and negative energy hole, and we can accept that there was no time before. But again, this is probably the most difficult thing to understand. What triggered the Big Bang? How something must have started it, must have triggered that start. And what he talks about here, again, he has an answer, is on quantum physics. So look, I've never studied quantum physics. I'm not a scientist. But some of the things I've heard as an amateur about quantum physics are weird and fascinating. So for example, quantum physics is obviously talking about physics at a molecular level, is my understanding, very small level. So two molecular particles can be in two different places at the same time. That's one thing I've heard about quantum physics. Also that when you observe the behavior of a particle, it acts differently depending on whether you observe it or you don't observe it. So that's another weird thing. So the property that Hawking talks about on this topic is the fact that particles apparently can also appear randomly out of nowhere, right? So therefore he says, well, if that can happen now, then that is an explanation again for how the universe started. Because basically he says the universe started through the Big Bang, but that Big Bang started as one small single particle. And the big idea is that particle randomly appeared out of nowhere. Okay, so look, I don't know if that's satisfying to you, but the fact that we can, the laws of the universe now and physics of the universe are giving us reasons and ways that explain how something could have come out of nothing. That's mind-blowing to me. So again, I hope I've explained this correctly. I'm sure my scientific friends will correct me if not. But look, that's what I read in the book, and it's Stephen Hawking's. So who am I to argue? And if you don't believe me, go and get the book. But I think that is mind-blowing and fascinating, and it's more than worth the price of the book many times over alone. So yeah, look, I hope you enjoyed that and you're still here. I'll check out now from Japan. Sayonara, and see you again soon, I hope. Bye.